So this question is very similar to question 10 on your end of unit assessment. And this question says, Diego mowed lawns in his neighborhood for 6.4 hours. So we're talking about Diego. He mowed some lawns and he did it for 6.4 hours. It says he earned $51.20 in total. So he earned this much money for mowing lawns for this much time. And the actual question being asked is, how much did he make per hour? Now, this is an important part here. Whenever they say per hour, you must know that they are talking about for every 1 hour. Okay. Now, we have $51.20 that he earned in total. I'm actually going to circle everything. So he earned this much money. He mowed for this many hours, and we want to know how much he earned for each hour. So basically what's happening is if we have this much money earned in 6.4 hours, what's happening here? We're not putting them together, so it's not addition. We're not taking anything away, so it's not subtraction. We're not doing the same thing and adding it up repeatedly, so it's not multiplication. That can't be it. So it's going to have to be division. So we have to find out how much was earned in every 1 hour. So we're going to take the $51.20, basically here, $51.20, and we're going to divide it by how much time he mowed lawns for, which was 6.4 hours. So we're dividing with decimals. What we have to do is put it in long division notation. But whenever we have it in long division notation, we need to make sure that the dividend, which is this value here, okay, this is our dividend, goes inside the long division notation. So inside here, we're going to write 51.20. And then this value here, the 6.4, that is our divisor. It tells us how we're splitting up the dividend, and that goes outside of the long division notation. So we'll put the 6.4 there. Here's the issue with this division question. The issue is we can't divide by a divisor unless it's a whole number. So this has to become whole. I also want to write that note down here. So note, divisor must be a whole number. Now, to make this a whole number, we're going to have to take this decimal point here. Let me zoom in. And we're going to take it and move it over 1 time to the right. And that's kind of like multiplying a number by 10. And it's kind of like when we are creating equivalent fractions, because when we create equivalent fractions, however we change the numerator, we change the denominator. This works the same exact way. But however we change the outside, we have to change the inside of our division problem. So because we multiply this outside number by 10 to move it over 1 time, because there's 1 0, we have to do the same thing here. We have to multiply it by 10 here. Now remember, the reason why we're multiplying it by 10 is to move the decimal point over 1 time, because that's what it takes to make this a whole number. If we had to move it over twice, then we would move this over twice. If we had to move this over 3 times, we would move this over 3 times. This only changes to match however this moves, okay? So now that we've shown how it's going to move, we need to write our new problem with our new numbers. So we've got 6.4 is now 64. I'll put that here. And in the inside, this is no longer 51.20. Now the decimal point is here, so it's going to be 512. And I'll put the 0.0 here as well. Okay? Now remember, we have the decimal point here, so because we have a decimal point under our long division symbol, we're going to raise it into the quotient as well, so it stays there. And now we'll do our division. Since it's a multiple choice question, I really recommend that what we do is we look at our choices. Choice A, B, C, and D each start with a different number. So choice A starts with a 6, choice B starts with an 8, choice C starts with a 7, and choice D starts actually with a digit of 1. Okay, so let's try using 6 first to see if that will give us the answer to take away from 512. So we've got 64 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. I'll do it again. 6 times 4 is 24. I'll bring in the 4 and carry the 2. And then we've got 6 times 6 is 36, plus the 2 is 38. That's 384. Now, that is less than the 512 that we have to subtract from, but the issue is I don't think it's big enough. So let's try the next choice here. So it can't be 6, so we'll cross off A. Let's try using 8. Okay, so now we've got 64 times 8. We've got 8 times 4 is 32. Bring down the 2, carry the 3. Then we've got 8 times 6 is 48. 48 plus 3 is 48. 49, 50, 51. So we'll put 51 here, and that gives us 512. So that means 8 is our number that we're going to use here. And right away, we can get rid of any choice that doesn't start with 8. We can get rid of C, we can get rid of D, and we now know that 8 is our answer. But let's continue just to show that. So we got 512, we subtract, we get 0, and then we bring down 0, and then we'll put a 0 here because it goes into 0 0 times. And remember, it doesn't really matter. When we have money, we always have 2 decimal place values. So our answer is B, $8 per hour. Hope this helps.